and Waqf. I mean, we will have
Yes.
2 papers. So I hope that our speakers are available, because there are few on each paper 3 names.
They are here. I think one is Miryati Safitri, another one is Anisa Rahma. Could you please open your cam?
Guys, are you there, please? Anisa and whoever is the next one, so we know that you are here. So the first paper is about... Hello? Anisa, are you there?
Assalamualaikum. No, I'm Miryati Safitri, and I'm so sorry that I cannot start my video because the host has stopped it.
Oh, I see. I think that could be resolved. Yeah, now you can. You should be able to start your video, Miryati.
So sorry, I still cannot.
I think then is some... Oh yes,
Okay.
now we can see you now, Miryati. So you are presenting the first paper about preference of millennial employees on the payment of Zakat in Jakarta area. Is that correct?
Yes, but the title changed into the preferences of millennial workers or employees in Indonesia, not only in Jakarta.
Okay, so you expanded the sample. Anyway, we will have opportunity to hear your paper. So we have given according to timing. I'm just trying to understand the timing differences. It is 1 o'clock in 20 minutes in the UK. So I assume we are finishing 2:15 according to the UK time.
Yeah, each speaker has 20 minutes, and after that we have like 20 minutes. The total time is 1 hour. So
perfect.
each speaker has 20 minutes.
So Miryati, as you can see, you have 20 minutes to present your paper, and then we will ask another speaker to present another, and then we'll open the discussion on Zakat and Waqf in general. So Miryati, without going too much into further details, the floor is yours. So please share with us your slides and start.
Okay, thank you. Assalamualaikum. I start to share my slide. Is it okay?
Yes, we can see it. Thank you.
You can see it. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much for that the opportunity for me to present my study about the preferences of millennials employee on payment zakat on income and services in Indonesia. Okay, so the research background is zakat as a social instrument that can still be maximized. And we know that Indonesian Muslim population is 12.7% of Muslims worldwide. And we can see also that the age range of Indonesian population is mostly in the age of 15 up to 49 years, which has potential to contribute productively to the economy. And the formulation of the problem here in the study is the first is the effect of income zakat literacy on millennial employees on trust in zakat institution. Number 2, the influence of the aspect of religiosity on the level of trust of millennial employees towards zakat institution. Number 3, the role and impact of social media on millennial employees' trust in paying zakat on income and services. Number 4, millennial employees' trust in zakat institution in influencing decision to pay zakat on income and services. And the last one, millennial employees' preferences in paying zakat on their income and services. Next, we talk about the research purposes. Number 1 is analyzing the relationship between income and service zakat literacy in the millennial employees on trust in zakat institution. Number 2, analyzing the relationship between the religiosity of the millennial employees on the beliefs in zakat institutions. Number 3, analyzing the role and impact of social media on trust in zakat institution. Number 4, analyzing the trust of the millennial employees on the decision to pay zakat on income and services. And the last one is analyzing the preferences of Indonesian millennial employees on pay zakat on income and services. And we believe that there are benefits of research. Number 1 is as a reference for further research for researchers and academics. Number 2, as a reference for relevant policymakers in making strategic policies to maximize revenue and service zakah receipt from the millennial employees segment. And number 3, as a reference for zakah institution in obtaining zakah funds through zakah income and services. Now we go on to the hypothesis. We have 5 hypotheses here. The first hypothesis is literacy has a significant effect on millennial beliefs in paying zakah on income and services. Number 2, religiosity has a significant effect on the millennial beliefs in paying zakah on income and services. Number 3, social media has a significant effect on millennial belief in paying zakah on income and services. Number 4, millennial employees trust in zakah institution in influencing decision to pay zakah income and services. And the last one, millennial employees have a preference for paying zakah income on income and services. Next, how we analyze. We have 3 items here. The first one, we will talk about the population example and the research method and data sources, data collection and analysis techniques. The first one is population example. We know that 40% of Indonesian population are millennials, that is 54 million people. And the age range of millennials employee in Indonesia, age 20 to 39 years. And based on the Slovene method, the expected number of samples is 400 respondents. And based on the result of the response of the questionnaire, it is obtained 363 respondents ready to process. And next, the research methods. We are using a quantitative and analysis approach, and research is limited to behavioral analysis, not microeconomics. About the data sources, data collection and analysis techniques, we are using data types with 4 interval Likert scale intervals, which is not agree, quite agree, and strongly agree. And data obtained through a survey using a questionnaire. And we also analyze using the analysis techniques, descriptive and verification. And we're using structural equation model or SEM with PLS approach and using smart PLS software. Next, about the theory framework. The first one is zakah on income and services based on Surah Al-Baqarah 267 and At-Taubah 60 and Al-Zuriyat 19. About the millennial based on Hadar 2015, talking about the age of millennial, Rainer and Rainer 2011, talking about the characteristic and behavior. Number 3 is literacy based on the Antara et al. 2016, talking about the definition. Mujib 2016, talking about the coverage of literacy. And we also have Basnas here, 2019, talking about index and zakah literacy. Next, about the media social based on the Poli et al. 2014, talking about the definition of media social. Next, the religiosity based on the Gary 1995, Bierman 2006, Mochlis 2009, Walsh 2015, talking about the religiosity aspects. And the last one is theory plan behavior based on ASEN 1991. So talking about the theory plan behavior, so we have here that the intention in the TPB framework affects by attitude, norm, subjective, and behavior control. And our framework here, we use millennial behavior and religiosity, which is affect the trust in zakah institution, and trust in zakah institution will affect zakah payment decision. Here, millennial behavior consists of 2, that is literacy and social media. Okay, next we go on to the description of the research object. We have here age distribution of the respondents. So we know that the biggest here is 32.87% in the range of age 31 up to 34 years. And then the second one is 35 up to 40 years by 20.33%. And the third one is 40 40 years up to 45 years by 13.65%. And next, the respondents' last education distribution. We know that the highest is bachelor by 71.59%, and followed by master's degree by 10.31%, and the last one is we have here high school and diploma and also doctoral. Now we talk about the distribution of respondents' work. We know here that majority the respondents working for state-owned company by 57.6%. Next, private company by 29.7%, and then as an entrepreneur by 8.36%. Now about the respondents' residence. So we have here most of the respondents living in Central Java by 41.5%, DKI Jakarta by 17.55%, West Java 16.99%, South Sulawesi 11.14%, Banten 7.48%, and the others scattered from 0.28% up to 1.39%. From Sumatra, East Java consists of East Java, Yogyakarta, Aceh, Bali, South Kalimantan, and Sumatra. That's why I changed my study from Jakarta area to Indonesia. Okay, next we go on to the operational definition. We have variables here. The first one is literacy, social media, religiosity, trust in Zakat institution, and decision on payment Zakat on income and services. And we code it into L1 up to L5 for literacy, M1 up to M4 for social media, RY up to R3 for religiosity, K1 up to K7 for trust in Zakat institution, and D1 up to D8 for decision on payment Zakat on income and services. And all of the technical indicators are stated in our questionnaire. Okay, next, the outer model evaluation. So from the questionnaire that we got, we have here the pattern, that is the loading factor value for all indicators on the variables of literacy, social media, religiosity, trust in institution, and the decision to pay Zakat is greater than 0.5. The smallest is on L1 indicators, which is 0.7, and the largest is on M4 indicators, that is 0.95. So all indicators used in this study are valid. Okay, next, still we go on to the inner model evaluation. So we have here the R square, which is the for variable trust in Zakat institution. The value of R square is 0.337, and for decision to pay Zakat is 0.27. So it means that the decision to pay Zakat is explained by trust in Zakat institution by 27%. Then for trust in Zakat institution, 37% of which is explained by religiosity, literacy, and social media. And we have here the NFI value that is 0.735. So it means that the decision to pay Zakat is explained by the variables by 73%, 0.5%, I mean, sorry. Next, we go on to the average variance expected, or AV, and we have here that for variable trust in Zakat institution, the value of average variance expected is 0.76, and decision to pay Zakat is 0.58, literacy is 0.60, social media is 0.89, and religiosity is 0.82. So it means that the value of AV for all variables are more than 0.5 So it indicates the variables are valid. Okay, next we go on to the T statistic. So we have here that the trust in Zakat institution that affects decision to pay Zakat. The value of T statistic is 11.04, and for the literacy effect trust in Zakat institution is 5.74. Literacy effects in decision to pay Zakat is 4.86, and social media, which is affect trust in Zakat institution, the value of T statistic is 7.15. The social media that affects decision to pay Zakat, the value of statistic is 5.66. Religiosity that affects trust in Zakat institution is 3.43. And the last one is religiosity that affects decision to pay Zakat is the value of the T statistic is 3.23. So if the P value is less than 0.05, so the entire path between variable has a significant effect, then the value of T statistic is compared to 1.96. If it is more than 1.96, it is significant. So it shows that the value of all variables more than 0.05 and 1.96, so they are affect the decision to pay Zakat. Okay, so the hypothesis test result we have here, the H1, which is the hypothesis, is literacy has a significant effect on the trust of millennial employees in paying Zakat through Zakat payment institution. The T statistic is 4.86, and the T table is 0, so the result is accepted. For H2, the hypothesis is religiosity has a significant effect on the trust of millennial employees in paying Zakat through Zakat payment institution. The value of T statistic is 3.23, so the result is accepted. H3, the hypothesis is social media has a significant effect on the trust of millennial employees in paying Zakat through Zakat payment institution. The value of T statistic is 5.66, so the result is also accepted. H4, millennial employees' trust in Zakat institution affects decision in paying Zakat on income and services. The T statistic value is 11.04, so the result is accepted. The last one, H5, the hypothesis is millennial employees have a preference for paying Zakat on income and services. The T statistic is more than 1.96, so the result is accepted. The result of the hypothesis are accepted if the T value is more than 1.96. So we can see that all are more than 1.96, so that it can be said that the entire hypothesis is accepted. Literacy, religiosity, social media have a significant positive effect on the decision to pay Zakat through Zakat payment institution. Okay, so this is the analysis results. So here, the H1 literacy has a significant positive effect on millennial trust in paying Zakat on income and services. It is in line with the research of Dice et al. 2016, Hall et al. 2016, Mihalka 2018, Broadman et al. 2019, which explains that the millennial generation is very responsive to information. And H2, religiosity has a significant positive effect on millennial trust in paying Zakat on income and services. It is in line with Yughis research 2019, Mafia et al. 2018, Muda et al. 2009. And the H3, which is social media, has a significant positive effect on millennial trust in paying Zakat on income and services. It is in line with the research of Sony et al. 2020 and Broadman et al. 2018. Next, the H1, which is millennial employees' trust in Zakat institution effect decision in paying Zakat on income and services. The statistical T value for trust in Zakat institutions show the number of 11.05. 11.05. So it means that more than 1.86. The last one is age 5. Millennial employees have preference for paying Zakat on income and services. So we can see that from the statistical t-value for all variables, it shows high values. For example, religiosity, literacy, and trust in Zakat institution. Furthermore, the description of the respondents also shows the level of education and occupation that support the preference for paying Zakat. Okay, now we go to the conclusion. So the conclusion of the study is the result shows that millennial employees in Indonesia have a preference in paying Zakat on income and services, whereas the preference is influenced by literacy, social media, and religiosity, which have a positive impact on their decision to pay the Zakat. And finally, our suggestion is for next research, for the further research on the topic of paying Zakat on income and services by millennial employee can be developed in other generation and add factors other than those analyzed in this study. For example, tested variables and research scope. And also the payment of Zakat on income and services as a tax deduction in Indonesia. For regulation, we hope it will synergize with all relevant institutions in increasing literacy, religiosity, and the use of social media among millennial employees, and making regulation that supports Zakat institution in obtaining Zakat on income and services. And the last one, for Zakat institution, we hope that it will innovate the way in targeting millennial employees to increase Zakat acquisition through payment of Zakat on income and services. Okay, I think that's all. Thank you very much.
On the spot, 20 minutes exactly. Well done, Miriati.
Thank you.
It was perfect. Perfect timing. Excellent presentation. I really enjoyed. We will leave the questions, if you don't mind, for let's have another presentation, and then we can have discussion about the topic of Zakat. There is some new ideas which is coming, and I would like to explore possible influence of on millennials in terms of adopting the technology in dealing with Zakat as a result of post-COVID time. But we will discuss that after the next presentation. So we have another presentation from another person, which should be Anisa Rahma. Anisa, are you around? Yes.
Yes, sir, I'm here.
So we would like to hear your presentation on building the water and sanitation in post-pandemic era, potential role of Waqf. So if you don't mind to share with us your presentation, please, and when you're ready, start.
Okay, thank you for the opportunity for me. Sir, I will share screen my presentation. Is it okay?
Yes, please, and you have 20 minutes.
Okay, thank you. My presentation has shown in Zoom.
Yeah, we can see. Yeah, perfect.
Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. The honorable for all the audience. The first, let me introduce myself. My name is Anisa Rahma Febrianti, the first year master student from University of Airlangga in Indonesia. As the representative of our team, today I will present our paper. The title is Building Water and Sanitation in Post-Pandemic Era, Potential Role of Waqf. Okay, here is our presentation of outline. The first one is introduction, and the second one is literature review, and then methodology, and the fourth is discussion, and the last is conclusion. So we begin with the introduction. We know that at the end of 2019, the second SARS-CoV virus appears in Wuhan, China. This kind of virus has bigger infectious than other virus, especially it can harm our respiratory system. As this virus has spread so fast, So in March 2020, World Health Organizations announced that we have reached pandemic era. So from that time, this COVID-19 pandemic has affected almost all living aspect in the world. So one of its impact is in the context of achievement sustainable development goals by 2030. So this paper focused on the sixth goal, which is ensure the availability and sustainable management of water and sanitation for all. We know that in the midst of this pandemic has put forward the importance of water, sanitation, and hygiene to protect our health. And then for the next slide is, we know that before the pandemic has appeared in our life, the world has faced problems about water and sanitation. So this data based on the United Nations has released that 2.2 billion of population in this world still lack safe drinking water, including 785 million people is still without basic drinking water. And then for 4.2 billion people in this world still lack managed sanitation, including 2 billion is still without safely managed sanitation infrastructure. So this condition is clearly will weaken the health systems respond to the COVID-19 in this pandemic era. And we know that during pandemic COVID-19, water is a must for all the people. As health protocol regulated by World Health Organizations during pandemic, we must often washing our hands with soap so it can reduce the potential infection from COVID-19. However, based on the data in United Nations, only 60% in this world people have basic hand washing facilities with soap and water, and only 28% in underdeveloped country have this facility. So this condition clearly will weaken the health systems respond to the COVID-19. And then to achieve equal distribution of water and sanitation, substantial funds are needed. In the middle of this pandemic, funding gaps is bigger because government tend to focus, maintain other primary sector, which is health sector, food security sector, and then education sector. In order to fulfill the gaps fund to develop water and sanitation sector, Waqf provides an alternative solution. We know that as far as the authors know that there are still few papers that discuss the potential role of Waqf, especially in the water and sanitation sector. So this paper is develop some framework to show the potential role of Waqf in fulfill the funding gaps in water and sanitation sector in this pandemic era. And then the second is literature review. So in 2018, Abdullah has explored how the potential of Waqf can be significant to achieve SDGs consistently. And then in the next year, Abdul has found that the role of Islamic social finance, which is Zakat, Waqf, and Sadaqah and Infaq to achieve SDGs can end hunger and achieve food security and improve nutrition. And then in 2020, Ali and Kasim developed an innovative Waqf called Waqf Forest for supporting sustainable development goals to reduce poverty and starvation, maintain climate, serve healthy life, protect another living thing, and increase economic growth. And in this year, Usman and Rahman have studied funding higher education through Waqf in Pakistan. So Waqf is used to develop operational expenditure and support academic activity. From this literature review, we know that Waqf Waqf have potential role to achieve SDGs consistently. And then the third one is methodology. So the study uses exploratory study that aims to explore the potential of Waqf instruments to provide water and sanitation, especially in the post-pandemic era. And for the discussion, the first one, we begin with the condition of SDG 6 achievement. So access to sanitation and clean drinking water is considered the core of sustainable development. We know that because water itself can fulfill human body need, and water can grow crops, and then water can maintain hygiene and many other. However, until now, the biggest challenge of this goal is because almost half of the global population still lack access to the water. If we look to this data, only 71% population in this world have safely managed water access, and then for the sanitation access is just 45% population in this world has safely managed. And then, so what is the importance of water during COVID-19? So the provision of clean water is very important to protect human health during outbreaks of infectious disease, according to World Health Organization in 2020. So in the post-COVID situation, the possibilities for the government to be the first priority are the economic system, food security, and jobs. So it is possible that a large amount of water will be needed to increase the productivity of the industrial and agricultural sectors. We know that the more we need water, the more we need access of fund to provide. So fund needed in SDG 6 achievement, according to SDG 6, in number 1, achieve universal and equitable access to safe and affordable drinking water for all. And then for the second place is achieve access to adequate and equitable sanitations and hygiene for all, and open defecations, paying special attention to the needs of women and girls and those in vulnerable situation. It is according to McDonough in 2020, we need approximately 150 billion US dollar per year. And then water sector infrastructure development will require an additional 114 billion US dollar in investment in developing countries each year through 2030, according to Butler et al. In 2020. But meanwhile, the source of funding received during the pandemic are decreasing because we know that government sectoral focus in this pandemic is the biggest is on health sector, and then for the food security sector, and then government focus on education sector. So the water and sanitation sector is clearly lack from the fund of the government. Global Water Intelligence estimates that capital expenditure in the water sector will decline over the 2020 until 2021 period. Oh, sorry. Okay. So we offer the next framework in adopting Islamic social finance, especially for Waqf in building water, energy, and sanitation sector. The first one is Muzaki and Waqif will provide Zakat and Waqf funds to be distributed. As Muslim in this world is the biggest religion, this step could be possible. Then Amil will record, manage, and channel the funds collected from Muzaki, while Nazir will record, manage, and channel the fund collected from Waqif. And then Waqf asset can be in the form of fixed assets such as goods, lands, building, or cash. And it can be in the form of cash Waqf, which is to build infrastructure in water and sanitations, like toilet and water well and many other. And then for the maintenance costs, we can use Zakat fund that aim to Asnaf, especially is indigent and the poor. Why we choose those Asnaf? Because we know that indigent and poor has the biggest barrier to access water as they cannot afford the cost. So here is the last for conclusion. So the availability of clean water and sanitation services is an important concern during the current COVID-19 pandemic. And expansion of development and procurement is needed so that people living in remote areas and villages, especially in developing countries, are able to get access to clean water for drinking and other activities, as well as access to proper sanitations in protecting the environment. And Islamic social finance instrument, especially Waqf, can be an alternative funding in fulfill the gap of fund. So we can integrate Zakat and Waqf in the provisions and management of sanitation and clean water services. Okay, so this is the last for my presentations. Thank you for your attention and jazakumullah khairan khasiran. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Anissa. A little bit earlier than I thought, but that's fine. We have some extra time for discussion. Is there anyone who would like to ask our speakers any question directly? So you can just unmute yourself and speak, or if it's much easier, you can write your question in the chat. Anyone? If there's no questions, I will go and ask. So, Miriati, you presented very interesting research using the PLSM analysis. I'm quite aware of the partial least square modeling for using the questionnaire, but I would like to know whether you have anywhere considered in your sample survey the impact of technology in terms of the creating the trust. I have seen similar research whether they are used, how the institutions of Zakat, they introduce the electronic payment of Zakat, and also they can see the management of the funds, where do they go in terms of creating the trust among the potential donors, or in this case, givers. So this will be workers or employees. So have you considered that aspect in your research?
Yes, I do. So in our research here in the questionnaire, we also ask questions about the the frequency of access to social media, or which is one of the technology, and also we ask them to ask them to know about their literacy and something like that, and also ask them about the trust in Zakat institution. And I think that trust in Zakat institution is equal to technology. Yeah, the millennial employees, they are really what we call it. More frequent in using technology. But if they are not trust in Zakat institution, I don't think that they want to pay Zakat. So yes, we also consider technology in that one.
Because it's a very important segment, Miriati, because usually people like to give Zakat directly money, collection in the mosques. Yeah. Now we are coming with a virtual where millennials are much more frequent, as you just mentioned, whereas the ordinary people are not. So that is a dilemma in terms of when you are structuring this kind of research, then technological influence probably shouldn't be significant, because these people are the technology users.
Yeah.
So thank you, Miriati. Is there any question or comment from anyone in the chat? If not, we will move. I will ask another question then. Anyone?
You go ahead, maybe after your question. there might
Okay.
be other
I
questions.
mean, they can write the question in the chat box as well, and then we will read it. So, Anissa, I would like to ask you a question about Waqf. I have now Indonesian PhD students who is doing Waqf on SDG. So I just want to explore with you. So how do you think? So you proposed a model that donor will come and establish the Waqf, which can be the asset or cash Waqf. So when you're talking about sanitation and access to the clean water, which are important segment of SDG, and we want to establish or promote that based on the Waqf. So let's say we want to establish water foundation, or we want to make the public toilets, and so that used to be in the old Ottoman Empire and even across the Muslim history. So how you are trying to maintain that? These are the costly institution. Waqf is about to generate the income. So interesting point is coming from how we need to classify the Waqf. Usually we divide them on philanthropic, yeah, and also the income generation. Now the point is of income generation Waqf, which we want to see so that we can run many of these social goods. So where do you find that part? So we establish the water foundation across the globe. They bring the water, but that needs constant maintenance, fixing things when they don't work, paying the wages to the people. How we are trying to manage that aspect?
Actually, because this paper is really based on our thinking that actually Islamic social finance is not only about economic sector, food and security sector, but it has many. It can be used in all of the living sectors. So for the maintenance of this Waqf, we as the Muslim in this world is the biggest religion. We believe that as the potential of Waqf itself as global is except the needed for the water and sanitations. What is it we call with in this in my presentation is needed $114 US, but the potential of Waqf itself globally is exceeds $300 US. So I think that if we want to manage that Waqf fund, we can promote regularly to other people, especially Muslim, so they can know the function of Waqf is actually bigger than from what other people know in this know the function of Waqf itself. So from me, it's that.
Anissa, I got your point. Waqf potential is a huge, we know that, and it used to be powerful social economic tool or social welfare tool in the Muslim communities across the centuries. But the issue where we are struggling now, we have so many Waqfs across the Muslim world, which are just deteriorating. They are collapsing in a way because we have very little flexibility to change things. So the point is here, let's say we are adding additional Waqfs which will promote or provide the access to the clean water and sanitation. But after they become outdated or they become unusable, or in a way they need repayment, and you do not have in your budgeting or because you're providing the clean water, which is free, you're not charging for the water, and hence how you're going to maintain those institutions is becoming the crucial element. Many schools have been established and many institutions have been emerged, and making the building is a very straightforward. But what is becoming problematic, how you maintain it for the coming years. And that is something, so maintenance of the Waqf is a really big issue.
Okay, I think I get the point, sir. Actually, because Islamic social finance is not just only Waqf, so we offer the potential role of zakat, and actually infak and sedekah can also help to maintain the Waqf asset. So the function is will continue to active in the long time, in the future and in the long time. So I think it is from the integration of Islamic social finance instrument itself.
That's a very good point.
Actually, it's not only in Indonesia we call it ziswaf, zakat, infak, sedekah, and wakaf. Actually, there is one instrument in Islamic social finance called Qadrul Hasan.
Qadrul Hasan, yes.
Yes, Qadrul Hasan is one of the debt, but it's not like conventional debt, because Qadrul Hasan is just we give debt for the people, and the people is just return the debt without interest payment.
Yes, but Ansa, what I was trying to suggest you something. Let's say, just to give you another example, let's say we want to build the mosque in Jakarta. We will find hundreds of people who will donate for building the religion. So very much religious institution. And if you need to establish the graveyard so the Muslim could be buried, you will find the people who will donate. Perhaps if we want to establish the madrasa, Islamic Educational Center, we might still find a donor. But if I say we need to establish income generating Waqf, which will finance all this, then you will find very little people who will donate, or almost none. So that is becoming the huge issues, that the real Waqf is income generating institution which supposed finance and support those philanthropic, educational and religious institutions. But hardcore of Waqf, which started from the Battle of Khyber, it is income. So rent on the land and so on. So this is research we try to capture. So I'm just trying to give you hints to think. Any kind of Waqf, yes, it is. We will always provide a romanticized story about Waqf, but in reality, when people try to implement that, these are the challenges that we will face. And one of them is, yes, we will establish the water foundation. You might find people who will donate it, but try to maintain that for next 10, 20 years. This is where the difficulties we're gonna face, definitely. Is there anyone else except me asking question?
Sir, if I can give adding to my opinion. Actually,
please go ahead.
Yeah, actually in Indonesia, there is a Waqf institution called Aksi Cepat Tanggap. If you know.
I don't, so you can tell us about it.
Nah, Aksi Cepat Tanggap is one of the Waqf institution, but the Aksi Cepat Tanggap is just on one region itself, but not to build globally, because for the Waqf itself is not many there is no many people that will to pay wakaf. So Aksi Cepat Tanggap just develop water and sanitations regionally but not globally. That's what I mean.
No, that's all fine. Let's go back to the Zakat discussion. I think we ignored Miriati, so my apology for that.
It's all right. It's all right because I also learned about Waqf.
So Zakat collection in Indonesia is not compulsory, so it is left to the will of the employees.
Yeah.
Now
But
the question. Sorry, Mary, if I could just frame the question and then you can answer.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So the question is, Zakat is not compulsory. If you want, you need to subscribe. Like when we have in the UK, if you want to pay your pension, you subscribe. If you don't, you withdraw. So the question is, how you can, the Zakat is given for the over year, 1 year sitting money in the account. So why to pay through your wages? I need to, I don't know the logic behind.
Okay, so for example, in my company, every employee pays Zakat every month, deductible from our wages. So yeah, and it makes us not so burdened in paying Zakat because if we have to pay the whole year in one payment, so it will be too much for us, and it will be create a feeling of, oh, come on, it's a amount of money, why should we pay it, something like that. We can buy car, we can buy something with the money. So if we pay monthly, so I think it would be easy for us, and okay, that's only a small money that we can give. So it makes us easier, I think, to pay Zakat.
I'm not getting, Miriati, because to pay the Zakat, so let's say on 1st of October 2021, I got Nisab, I got whatever, 5,000 pounds. So next year of 1st of October, I got 15,000 pounds, and this is what is the amount due to pay 2.5%. And this is because I can know that if I deposit my money in the bank. But me as a worker in the company gives me the wages, let's say each month 1,000 pounds. They do not know what I have in the bank. So the calculation and payment through the company, I cannot still connect the logic here, because the expectation of Zakat and its duty is nothing to do with my work. This is my sweat. I got paid. So I think the bank has much more inside information to tell you, oh, now it's your due to pay the Zakat, not company. That's why I'm trying to understand how it works in Indonesia.
In Indonesia, for our deposit in the bank, yeah, we do not pay Zakat for it, only for wages. And I think that, I think it's better for us to consider it in our regulation, maybe. So we
because paying from your wages, usually you can pay the tax, which is predetermined based on your income. That is the income on top. But Zakat is not tax on income; it is tax on saving. So what you have accumulated and you are not using for the productive purposes, neither you are spending on yourself. And this is how we are returning the portion of our money to the society which belongs to them. So that's why I'm trying to capture that relationship with what you are doing through your taxes or Zakat payment, whatever you want to call it.
Oh, okay. For as you know, that you means that you want to know what we are doing on our tax and also in our Zakat. Is that what you mean?
Yes.
Okay, so in Zakat, as in my company, they are collecting the Zakat every month, and then they distribute it to the person who need it, so asnaf. So, and the tax we give it to the government in building street or something like
straightforward.
that.
There is no issue. There is no
Yeah.
issue.
Yeah.
But is everyone in the company tax zakat payable? I mean, does anyone in the company who works? I mean, like say you have a big family, you receive the money and you will spend on them. So there is no saving for a zakat. That is the argument.
Oh, okay. So I think that. Sorry, I have no idea about it, but I think that zakat is not compulsory, as you said. That
no, it's compulsory on the Muslims, but when you
Muslim, but but in our company it's not compulsory. It means that we can pay it in our company or distribute it directly to the asnaf, as you said, that to the mosque, to the asnaf staff. But and I think that it would be good if the regulation support the company to collect the zakah on income, I think. And we also, as you said, that the technology also support it. So we, as the Waqf, would know how the money distributed.
I mean, just a question related to Dr. Aliya's. I mean, so it's very clear that the zakat is not compulsory in Indonesia, but it is also collected by government as well. I mean,
exactly.
So it is you can give it by yourself to a person, but or you can give it to, I think that you company. Have a baznas, right? Or an institution, you can give it to that institution and they, take zakat. So the question here, I mean, I agree with Dr. Ali. I also couldn't understand. So if you pay it on like every month, it means that you have an income. But at the same time, you have also expenses. So how it is calculated?
Exactly.
How it is calculated? It's not easy to calculate it because, I mean, income might be the same, but expenses might be, different.
Yeah.
And so how it is calculated?
So 2.5% from our wages, ignore the expenses. So we do not calculate the expenses. So the 2.5% from our wages every month.
Miriati, just to understand a little bit more, what is the tax that you need to pay on wages for the government on the top of that?
The government, I'm sorry, I forget because it's.
Give me roughly. Doesn't matter to be exactly.
Oh, okay. Okay, I forgot because it's
20%.
No, of course not.
Because I'm just trying. I pay in the UK 20, I think 21%.
21%. That's right. PPN, right?
And plus the car 2.5%. Now is becoming 23.5%. That's what.
Yeah, I think around 21%. I think.
I mean, I still don't get the model. I mean, I know after 1 year, at the end, you can go back and say, this is what I owe. But in advance, that's really, I mean, but I accept that Indonesians are more progressive in the zakat and Waqf. So I accept that. I think we use all our 1 hour, Dr. Najmuddin. So are we closing the shop here?
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Dr. Aliya and Miryati and Anisa. And thanks, Dr. Aliya, for your chairing this session. And a very productive conversation with the presenters. And thanks to Miryati and Anisa for their papers, and we benefit from their papers. The next session will start after 15 minutes. And it will be in Turkish and last session. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you very much, and I'm so sorry that I cannot answer your
No, it's all
question.
right. Thank you for your presenting and
Thank you.
communication. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
You too.
Bye.
Bye bye.